Man, this game sucked. Bruins lose 3-2 in overtime against the Calgary Flames, with Nazem Kadri scoring the game-winning goal in overtime again. Wonderful. Welcome back down into the den, everybody. If I sound low energy, it's because I am. Because how could I be high energy when the team does not give me high energy? Look, dude, I'm not gonna lie. Derek Forbort has messed up so many freaking times on the games at this point that I'm done. I'm done complaining about him. I'm done complaining about him because why not? Why does he? I'm done complaining about him insofar as I'm done making a spiel about him in every single video. Oh, you know exactly as well as I do how bad he was tonight. He was not good, and his poor defense almost cost us the game at the end before our offense cost us the game in overtime. But Forbort on his own, I'm done. I'm done with him. And I gotta be honest, tonight was a tale of two Markstroms. Tonight was very much a tale of two Markstroms. Because for a good chunk of the game, we got 2021-2022 Markstrom. Jacob Markstrom, we were getting the Jacob Markstrom that almost won the Vezina Trophy. But there were a few hints. There were a few hints of the Markstrom we got last year. Markstrom that we got last year, who was one of the worst number one goalies in the entire league. One of the worst goalies is out there, who could not stay in the crease, who played the puck at inopportune moments, and it cost him a goal. It cost him a goal. This game. It cost him a goal this game. He just goes way far out of the crease. He needs to play the puck to try and clear it before Marchand gets to it. But he puts it right onto Charlie Coyle's stick. And that is how we tie the game at 1 because the Bruins start the game very much on their back foot. Our defense looked flat all game. Bad game from Carlo. Bad game from Forbort. Bad game from Wotherspoon. Bad game from Shattenkirk. The only two defensemen who were actually good tonight were Lohrei and Carl and McAvoy. And I expect them to be good. I expect them to be good, especially McAvoy. McAvoy helped us McAvoy helped us pretty much throughout the entire game, and oh my god, and in overtime, McAvoy was the main reason why it went that long. But in terms of the rest of the game, Bruins could not get out of their own way. We go from the game in Edmonton that had the Bruins playing legitimately some of their most impressive offensive hockey to this where they are struggling to put anything together. Lauko just completely fucking up a fantastic opportunity. When we're on the power play, we just allow a 3-on-1 and force Ullmark to become God. Yes, Ullmark was amazing tonight, and I don't entirely place as much of the blame on him. It is hard to defend against the 3-on-1. It is hard to defend against the 3-on-1. I don't care what anybody says. That last goal is not entirely Ullmark's fault. Like they say, if the goalie has to touch the puck, it's because everybody on his team in front of him made a mistake. And that is exactly the way to sum up this game. That is exactly the way to sum up this game, because if Ullmark had to touch the puck, meant that everybody else in front of him made a mistake, and oh boy, there was a whole lot of mistakes. But let's be honest, the real question in this game was not, are the Bruins going to win? The real question in this game was what locker room is Noah Hanifin going to go to at some point during this game? Because guess we got to talk about it. The trade deadline is coming up, and the Bruins left defense. This is their depth chart for left defense. Grzelcyk, Lohrei, Forbort. Not really great. Not really great. Lohrei, he is good. He's good. He is not going to anchor the entire left side of the defense for the entire. He is not going to anchor the entire left side of the defense. Noah Hanifin is the top. Noah Hanifin, now that Sean Monahan and Elias Lindholm are off the table, Noah Hanifin becomes the top get. Do the Bruins go for him? Especially because this has been something of a white whale for Don Sweeney. Noah Hanifin is now notoriously, Don Sweeney's first draft was the 2015 draft. We all know what happened there. Zaboral, DeBrusk, Senyshyn, and really, really bad haul. DeBrusk is the only one worth a damn there, but he does not make the other two picks worthwhile. And Sweeney knew that I think knew that he was gonna fuck up at least one of the picks. So he tried to make a package. So he tried to go for a package deal, for literally anybody in the top 10. He tried so hard to move at least one of the picks and something else to move into the top 10 so that he could select Noah Hanifin. And nobody did it. Nobody bit it. And honestly, kind of to their detriment, because think about who they could have gotten with those picks. Matt Barzal, Kyle Connor, Thomas Chabot, Brock Besser, Anthony Beauvillier, Sebastian Aho. You had options. With those picks. And yes, I know the Bruins also had options with those picks. The point is, but that's not the point. The point is you could have conceivably moved down in that draft and been fine. And to be fair, if Sweeney moved up and for some reason Hanifin was already taken, there was still Zach Werenski. There was still Zach Werenski on the board, unless he moved to 9. In which case, if you're moving up to 9, you take Mikko Rantanen, and you are happy that you take Mikko Rantanen. But that's beside the point. We're not talking about Werenski. We're not talking about Hanifin. We're not talking about Werenski. We're not talking about Rantanen. We're talking about Hanifin. Hanifin, I think, could be a decent fit on here. I don't know if the Bruins should bite on it. Yeah. Look, let's be honest. Calgary is selling off, and considering the speed at which they are selling off, it is kind of a surprise that we lost, that we got swept in the season series to them. That sucks. That sucks to say, and it sucks to admit, but it's the truth. We lost in the season series. News. It's only 2 games. It's only 2 games out of 82. We're fine. We're gonna be fine. But Hanifin, contribution to this roster, again, I'd be fine with. I don't know. I don't want the Bruins to overpay for him. I really don't want the Bruins to overpay for him. And because he's the best thing, on the market right now, and Calgary knows what they can get for their players. There's realistically a trade between the Bruins and Flames that involves Hanifin is going to involve a pound of flesh. I don't know. I don't think we can offload Forbort in this. Forbort is too much of an anchor for him to really be worth a damn. At this point, I feel like everybody knows that if you're that you need to put in a sweetener if you want Forbort off the Bruins. And to be fair, and to be honest, I would take some. If we're moving forward, I would be thrilled for something like the Taylor Hall trade in the offseason. I would love for us to just get a tiny piece, just a tiny piece. Give us like your eighth best prospect or like a 6th round pick in 2025. I don't care. Get Forbort off my team. Because I'm gonna be honest, Andrew Johnson from the Short Shift Podcast can absolutely skate better. Can absolutely move with more efficiency than Derek Forbort, and I love you, Andrew. That dude's hip was replaced with stem cells. He got the pimp walk. He got the pimp walk, if you know what I'm saying. If you know what I'm talking about. Love you, Andrew. But yeah. Getting rid of Forbort, it's gonna be tricky. It's gonna be tricky. And I don't and he's too much of an anchor for him to be in a trade for someone like Hanifin. Especially because the Bruins don't have their first round pick this year, nor their second round, nor their third round. Our first pick in 2024 is going to be a 4th round pick. It sucks. It really sucks. The only way that we keep a pick from between the only way we get a pick between pick 1 and I don't know what pick we're at right now in the 4th. The only way we keep a pick there is if we somehow tank hard enough to where our pick is in the top 10 because I think the pick that we traded, I think the first rounder that we traded to it was either to Detroit for Bertuzzi or to Washington for Orlov and Hathaway. I forget which one it was, but one of the first that we traded last year is top 10 protected. So we can just that's the only way that we're getting within that pick. So what else? So what realistically could we see going in a Hanifin deal? It's gonna suck. It's probably gonna be either Mason Lohrei or Brandon Carlo. I think and what's frustrating is actually no. I think no, wait, that's right. McAvoy I think is on a full no movement clause right now. Lindholm, I don't think so. I think it either has to be Lohrei or Carlo. And the frustrating thing is that it's probably trending more towards Lohrei. And but since we also don't have a pick within the top within the first within the first 120 in the first 128 or something like that. I don't know. Since we don't even have a pick in the top 100, that sounds more accurate. Since we don't have a pick in the top 100, we are probably also going to have to sell off AHL assets. I don't think that means Beecher. I don't think that means Lysell. I don't. For a reasonable price, it could mean either Lysell or Markulov or Beecher, and that's the shitty part. We get attached to these players, and for as good as they are, they got to go somewhere else. Excuse me. Which brings me a little bit. Which, as a quick aside for the Lysell thing, I'm fine with it. I'm fine with him staying in the A if it means that he's going to become more ready for the NHL. I mean, I think I don't know if I think I've made this clear, but I look at prospects the same way that I take the main one of the biggest messages from Into the Spider-Verse. You don't entirely know when they're going to be ready or not. There isn't like a meter that feels off like ding, they're NHL ready. It's all a leap of faith. But as far as someone like Lysell is concerned, put Heinen on the get Heinen out of the top 6 and move him back down to the third and get Lauko off the ice. I love Lauko, but my God, the fact that him liking grapes is not a selling point. You need to do something on the ice, and he routinely doesn't. All that. Get Lysell up here in the top 6, because I was talking about this with I was listening to the Short Shift podcast. I was also listening to Puck Off and What's Brewing, hosted by Chris Noshik. Check all 3 of those podcasts out. Short Shift, What's Brewing, and Puck Off. And the consensus was pretty clear. You bring up players based on the role that they need to fulfill. The reason why we brought up Markulov earlier this season is because we needed someone to fill in a spot on the third line, and because Patra was out for a little bit. The reason why we brought up Brazeau is because we needed someone to fill in on the fourth line. The reason why we haven't brought up Lysell is because we haven't needed to bring up a player to fill in on the top in the top 6. And I think that and they know it. I think either here's final word on Lysell. He's probably playing at some point this season, but I think in the off season assuming he's not traded, Heinen's contract is going to expire. We love him dearly, but Heinen's contract expiring is going to provide the space for Lysell to come up, and that's a good thing. It's gonna be a good thing. But yeah, he could potentially go on a Hanifin deal. Lysell could potentially go on a Hanifin deal. Lori could potentially go on a Hanifin deal. Beecher could potentially go on a Hanifin deal. Don't get too attached to a prospect. Next. Philly fans know exactly what I'm talking about. We were hyping up Cutter Gauthier. They were so ready to celebrate him, and he just didn't want to play. So they shipped him off to Anaheim for Jamie Drysdale, and I think honestly that's a pretty fair 1-for-1. But still, don't get attached. Don't get attached to a prospect because potential just means you haven't proven shit. And right now, quite frankly, Lysell has a whole lot of potential. Merkulov has a whole lot of potential. Beecher has some potential. I think here's the thing. Beecher has a high floor, and like Beecher's floor is like right here. It's pretty high. His ceiling, I think, is like somewhere in here. We're not seeing that guy. We're not seeing that guy up to the top of Mount Everest anytime soon. But what am I going with this? Like I said, don't be shocked when a prospect gets traded, because for the right price, anybody's on the table. Anybody's on the table. We kept trying to make Earl Vakanainen work. Shipped off for a first. Shipped off with a first and a second for Lindholm. And you want proof that anybody's on the table? Look at the Thornton deal in 2005. One of the best players in the NHL at that point. Someone who won the Hart that year. And he remains the only Hart dealer, the only Hart winner to have ever been traded in the middle of a season. Because we couldn't get anything. Because ultimately everything's on the table. Now, yes, the return that we got for him was not great, but at the same time, different GM. It feels weird to say this. I kind of have faith in Sweeney here. I don't think that the Bruins should make a move for Hanifin. I don't think that they should make a move for Hanifin, and it's going to be a bitch and a half to make the it's going to be a bitch and a half to make the money work, especially and you're probably going to need to make them retain something. That sucks. That really sucks. And ultimately, but if he does it, I really don't want to see him overpay. That's all. That's really all I gotta say. I'm sorry that this really wasn't talking about the game, but again, the game was nothing really to speak about because the talk of the town was not about the game. It was about the trade block. Look. So, thank you all so much for watching and listening to my waxing poetic about ethics in trading, and I will see you guys in the next one. Take care.